The Battlerager, aka Cooljar, probably pronounced that wrong, aka the Axe Idiot, is the paragon of Dwarven Barbarians. Let's talk about that. Hey fellow Game Masters, I'm Richard Quiner, and welcome back to the Daily D20, your daily dose of all things tabletop role-playing games, helping you build your world and master your game. And today, we're diving into the Dwarven Barbarian Primal Path, the Battlerager. As we get into this video, remember to let me know what you think about this Primal Path down in the comments below. Also, look in the description for the link so you can vote and rate this Primal Path for your own. So in a couple days, we can look at all the scores and see how this Primal Path added up. Interesting thing to note, in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the Battlerager is written as a very specific Primal Path that's only available to Dwarves. This is because of the armor that it uses and certain abilities that Dwarves get that makes it a little better for them. And in Dwarven society, the Battlerager is a specialist barbarian. They are the elite warrior that has a very specific skill that it uses that no one else in their tribe can probably do. But even though the rules say it has to be a dwarf, the number one rule of Dungeons & Dragons is you don't really need to follow the rules if you as the DM choose not to. So depending on you as the player, you as the dungeon master, and your dungeon master, if you are a player, you can change this rule and make your Battlerager whatever race you would like it to be. But I just think for flavor, it's pretty fun, the idea of a dwarf Battlerager. The main idea behind a Battlerager is, yes, they are the specialist of their Dwarven Barbarian tribes, and that it comes from the fact that they can use all their weapons, but they also get a special set of spiked armor. The spiked armor is a medium light leather that has metal spikes all over it. And that's where a lot of their abilities come from, is using this armor in conjunction with their rage. In addition to that, these dwarves move around a lot. They say never toss a dwarf. These dwarves toss themselves all over the battlefield. What do you get when you decide to be a Battlerager? First off, at level 3, right off the bat, you got the opportunity to use your spiked armor. Now this is up to the DM's discretion whether you actually get that spiked armor right away, or you have to go buy it or find it somehow. In my campaign, I said, okay, the player already has the spiked armor, but they had to hit level 3 before they could use it. So I gave them that option because I didn't really feel like they needed to go all the way back to their hometown to, get their armor. We're going to save the hometown for later on. That was how I chose, but as the DM, you have that choice up to you. The armor class of the spiked armor is 14 plus your dexterity, and it lists this stipulation in the book. It says max 2, which to me tells me your highest armor class you can reach with this Battlerager is 16, which isn't super high, but it's good enough, and I think you should take advantage of that as best you can. Also, the other downside of this armor is all stealth checks are made with disadvantage because it is a little more clanky, a little more clunky, and you probably don't have a really high dex. But you do get a couple bonuses right off at level 3 with this. One is whenever you attack a creature with a melee attack, you may use your bonus action to hit them with your armor and cause a little bit more damage. And also, whenever you grapple a creature, you may use the armor to cause some more damage to that creature that you have grappled. So right off the bat, your damage output is upped, even though your defensive capabilities might be a little lower than most barbarians at this point. I will also mention, like everything barbarian, all these effects take place while raging, so you can't just do this stuff willy-nilly. But then at level 6, you gain the Reckless Abandon feat, which is pretty cool also. But basically how this works is whenever you decide at the beginning of your turn to recklessly attack, while raging again, you gain temporary hit points equal to your Constitution modifier. This is a great thing for longevity in the battle and keeping you alive, where you can just add temporary hit points. This only really works on the first attack though, so the most at first that you'll be able to get is like a +5 temporary hit points at the beginning of each round of each of your turns. One time per round of combat. But after the rage ends, so do the temp HP, so make sure you have real HP at the end of the combat to keep you alive, so when you lose the temp HP, you don't just die outright. At level 10, this is why I say these dwarves toss themselves around. You gain the Battlerager charge at level 10, and basically that means you can then use your bonus action to dash. And using a dash as a bonus action vastly improves your mobility because now you can move, then you can dash, which doubles your distance, and then you can attack things still, while normal people who don't have this bonus action dash ability would have to use their full action to dash. So this just takes this dwarf that is a little meatball of damage and just makes it be able to hurl itself around the battlefield a lot faster while still hurting the enemy in a very efficient way. And level 14 comes the time when the armor can hit back a little bit harder, and it is the spiked Retribution feat. And basically what this means is whenever you are in combat and you are raging and you are not incapacitated, and an enemy that you can see that is within 5 feet attacks you with a melee attack, you can instantly hit them back and cause 3 piercing damage on them right away. This is not hindered by a once per round rule or something like that. This is just every time you get attacked. So it makes sense that a Battlerager would get into the middle of combat, have all these enemies attacking them, and they're basically just stabbing them back with their spiked armor. Now, when building the Battlerager, this is where I differ from the Ancestral Guardians. I would choose to make your strength your highest, followed by your constitution, and dexterity. I would try to max it out at the +2 to get your armor class up to 16, but I wouldn't stress it too much. If your dexterity is below that, it's not really that effective. Your main thing is to try and give you maybe some high hit points so you can stay alive a lot longer. That kind of thing I think would really play into the Battlerager. And by getting your strength and constitution as your highest, and then using your ability score boosts like you get at level 4 to get your strength and constitution up to 20 as fast as possible, would give you a huge bonus to your damage output and your temp HP that you'll gain as a Battlerager. Also, in order to use the spiked Retribution, you have to take a hit. So if the attacker hits and your armor class was too high, for example, they wouldn't take the damage. So I think it's safe to have your armor class at like a 16 or 15. I think that's a safe and usable kind of armor class point. I think it's important for a Battlerager also to just have a really big pool of hit points. Like put everything you can into making this just you have so much life in you. And I think probably the best way to do that would be maybe start with a Hill Dwarf, because instantly the Hill Dwarves get a +1 to their health every time they level up. Because when you level up, you gain health equal to a die roll plus your Constitution modifier. In this case, the Hill Dwarf takes that Constitution modifier, adds 1 to that as well, so it just is even more. And then if you take the feat Tough, maybe at early levels, rather than focusing on your ability score, just take Tough. That instantly adds another 2 onto your hit points as you level up as well. Another feat that is a very good option for this kind of Battlerager is Mobile, which gives you a lot more mobility on the battlefield and just gets you around a lot faster. Again, for this, you'll have to manage your rage in early levels to make sure you don't spend your rages when you need them the most. Just keep an eye on the combat, see how things are going early on, or try to read your opponent before you rage. But again, rage early in combat so you get the full 10 rounds of rage powers abilities to help you out. That I think will give you a perfectly good, viable Battlerager that will just cause a lot of damage and destruction on the battlefield. And it's just a nice flavor of a barbarian wearing some leather spiked armor is just cool. So again, let me know what you think of the Battlerager in the comments below, and also hit the link and go rate and vote on the Battlerager and rate it so we can talk about which of these Barbarian Primal Paths is the best one overall. Again, I've been Richard, thanks for watching.
If you like what you see on the channel, remember to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified when I upload new videos. You can also click over here to see more videos in this playlist, or over here to see what YouTube suggests you watch from my channel.